I want to welcome you guys to the How to Market Your T-Shirt Business webinar. I'm very excited to present this here to you today, here in the interactive format, right over here in the chat section, or if you're watching the replay, down in the comments below. That is the beauty of these webinars, so that we are able to help you and your business out in any way we can. My name is Dave. I've been in the apparel decorating industry for well over a decade now, primarily in a lot of marketing, but I learned how to screen print on my kitchen table, trying to make shirts for my band and just merch. It took me a long time to be able to get a retail ready print with emulsions and inks and screens and meshes and off contact and then squeegees and durometers and all that stuff. So heat printing, I have just found just this awesome gateway into the industry, a low learning curve, and a great way now to fulfill apparel on demand with how big fulfillment stores are, or online stores. We're going to talk about them here as marketing strategies or some pathways that you could be selling apparel. So here in at least in today, I do have Mike behind the scenes as well. He's going to be answering chats over in the chat. If you just want to ask any questions, we are absolutely here to help. Mike has been in the apparel decorating industry for, I believe, just as long, 12, 13 years now, from the marketing standpoint. So you are in good company here with us today, but let's jump right in and take a look at our agenda here for what we're going to be doing. So a lot of things we're going to be talking about. I mentioned we have a lot of stuff to cover. So I'm going to try to stay as focused as I can on this, but if I see some good questions bubble up right in there, if Mike doesn't already get to them, I'll answer them, or maybe Trevor will get to them. Maybe John will get to them. We have a lot of experts here with us today, all built to help your business out. I got to say, the heat printing community, the apparel decorating community in general, is just so absolutely incredibly awesome. And the amount of knowledge that people share with each other to uplift everybody up and bring the entire industry up. And we've seen it over the past couple of years, and I absolutely love it. So my hat's off to you guys, and not only those who help and share information, but you guys here learning and bettering your business. Absolutely appreciate the dedication that you put into that, and anything that we could do here at Transfer Express to help your business succeed, we're all for it. So we're talking about finding your target audience, those niche audiences that you might hear us mention quite often, but it's the first step to expertly marketing your apparel business and seeing a lot of success. So just making sure that you are honing in on that audience, and that's going to help direct and focus and really make affordable a lot of advertising options to you. Then we're going to talk about basic pricing, because when we're talking about our services, price is, as much as, I mean, you guys probably know it too, price is a major concern for most consumers. And that goes for custom t-shirts too. So making sure that you could price yourself within the national competition and even your local competition. And by competition, I mean like other apparel decorators or other apparel brands. Maybe if you're running your own brand, like clothing line, it's somebody else who's serving a similar niche. If it's motorcycle t-shirts or, any motorsports t-shirts, there's a lot of people out there selling stuff like that. So the price point does play a factor into it a little bit. So we're going to talk on those pricing strategies just very basically. Same with email marketing. An awesome tool that is a list you own. That's the one thing as we talk about social media next after that, is that social media, whatever you do on social media, you're kind of building it on borrowed land, and it is great and super low cost. And you're already scrolling on TikTok or Facebook anyway. So it's a platform that you're on, and most likely your audience is on as well. But it is borrowed land. So fostering that customer base of your own, having email addresses, is a great way to be able to directly reach your customers. So that's something we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about website and SEO tips, because SEO is search engine optimization. And it plays a large role in the way that people shop online and or go to find things online. Everybody says just Google it. Well, how do you make sure that your business is showing up on Google for the right keywords? So we're going to talk about some ways that you could look into that. Search engine optimization, search engine ranking position, all of the tools that you could use for that. I've been doing now professionally as a career for a very long time in partnership with the printing industry, but it could get really super complicated, and I could spend probably 3 hours today talking all about it. So it is going to be very brief, but if really this is built to inspire you, get your gears turning and thinking about how you could apply a lot of these things that we'll talk about today to your business. So really, really important stuff. Of course, advertising. As we talk about marketing, advertising plays a big role in it. And there's several ways that you are able to actually low cost advertise, or if you've got some budget to spend, we want to talk about getting the most return on your investment. Think of any advertisement, any paid advertising as an investment into your business. Always look at what you're going to return out of it. Try to set some realistic goals so you can see the success, and always measure every single aspect of those campaigns so that you could have it the best. But we're going to jump in that a little bit. And then, of course, displays, proofs, and samples. I always say mock-up sell, samples sell. So a whole bunch of stuff in there that is going to help your business go. So I see Kevin Henson saying here, okay, quick question before he has to run. Gildan 6400 shirt with one image I sell for 17 small through extra large, including tax. Is that a good price? I have no overhead. That is a fantastic price, especially if you're just selling like one of them as a clothing line. 17 to 20 bucks is more than what a lot of people are going to do. It does depend on like what quantity that you're selling, that if it's a bulk order, or even how many colors in your design, how many print placements. Looks like one location, one image. So we're staying like center chest, and probably printing from home in a spare bedroom, which we have seen so many decorators build their businesses from a garage or a basement or a spare bedroom. And some of them have no need to buy a retail space. All of their customers find them online. They're able to service that and then either go deliver locally or ship the orders. And so it makes it easy to have no overhead. Now, of course, there might be an overhead if you're looking at like, let's say, the cost of a heat press, right? That is your overhead. That was your initial investment that you're working to return. So if you break it down to like, well, I need to pay the credit card that I bought it with $100 a month or whatever, that's your overhead then there too. So yes, Frank asks, where could I find complete SEO rules or directions? All over the internet. There are 9 million different sources. I wish there was one consolidated area of it. I will say, and one of the things we're going to get into when we get to that section in our presentation here today, is that Google gives you a lot of the tools for free up front. So they have the keys to the kingdom, but they let you look in the window and kind of get a behind the scenes look of kind of ranking positions and stuff. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. I see you guys jumping in there too. That's fantastic. When we start talking about people and, let's see. Yeah. Kevin's question about the Gildan shirt pricing, like, $20 a month, kind of rock bottom. Sean saying, Andrew says your time is overhead. And absolutely. I always say, pay yourself for your time. You're running your own business. And as small businesses or entrepreneurs ourselves, you kind of start to remove that and just start looking at the big picture of the business. Count yourself as the number one employee, okay? It's one of those things, you're like, I quit my job to start to take my side hustle full time. And instead of working 8 hours a day, I'm now working 24 hours a day. So you got to carve some time for yourself and put a value to that, because your time is valuable. And it took me a really long time, to be completely candid and honest and frank. It took me a really long time to see that in myself. But having the ability to pay yourself, or at least kind of keep track of those wages that you're supposed to be paying yourself, and the ability to say no when things aren't worth your time, was one of the biggest things for me. Now, that's really hard as an entrepreneur in a small business, because a lot of things, it's like, what could this opportunity lead to? What's the value in this to me? Well, this one's worth it. So it really varies per person, but it's something just to keep in mind as we go. But that's what I love. I love you guys in here starting talking about that. So that's fantastic. Let's go ahead and start jumping in right here, finding your target audience. So by definition, your target audience is a group of people defined by demographics, behavior, and even interests, right? So you want to find your tribe. Let's just call it your tribe. Who is going to be buying your stuff? So it could be gender, age, profession, location, interests, anything like that. Say here, just for the Cleveland area, for example, if I'm just starting out and I want to make local sports apparel for the high schools all the way up to the major leagues, of course, avoiding licensing so the NFL and MLB and NBA don't come after me. But maybe just some like Cleveland football with an orange and brown. So it looks like Cleveland Browns gear, avoiding all of the licensing, but I'll do it for high schools and stuff too. So right there, I have sports as an interest, and my targeted geographic area is around here. I mean, yes, there's Cleveland Browns fans all over the world. I met a guy in Las Vegas last year at Printing United, the big trade show, a guy from Mexico who was like, oh, you guys are from Cleveland? I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Like, never met a Cleveland Browns fan outside of the state of Ohio. So really awesome to see. But the bulk and majority of my customers are going to be here in Northern Ohio, right? So now I have a geographic area. I have an interest, regardless of whatever sport it may be, right? So you get the picture of starting to hone in that target audience. One of my absolute favorite things to recommend if you're just starting your business, or maybe you started doing some custom decorating, but now you want to hone it in and really kind of hammer down, grow your business and market your business effectively and efficiently, right? So start with your own interests. One of my absolute favorite things, like I mentioned, how I got into apparel decorating was because I was a musician, right? So I knew my interest was music. I knew what fans wanted. As a fan of music myself, I know what style of concert tee I wanted. I knew I love picking up stickers and koozies and all the other goods that you could get at a merch booth at a show, right? So all of this stuff I was keeping in mind while I was developing my own stuff. And it did end up growing, because if it's something you have interest in and it's something you already know really well, people are going to see that. Then they're going to see that you exceed in that. So when my band had a merch booth, right, and we'd set up at a show, there'd be other opening bands and other music fans who are musicians themselves and go, wow, who did this merch? It's fantastic. I want to make this for our business too. So just like that, boom, now I'm picking up more customers, being able to print merch and fulfill merch for them as well. So just take your own interest. I put a video together on the Transfer Express YouTube page not too many weeks ago, but kind of about those small business tips and how to market your business and finding a niche, so to say. And I use my father-in-law as an example too. Was in the construction trades for a really long time, retired, is looking for something to do, fill the spare time, and got into the idea of apparel decorating. So now he knows that they need high visibility stuff to work on construction sites and commercial construction sites like that. He knows that they like dry fit gear because they're working in the summer, hot, and the polyester moisture wicking stuff and the high visibility looks great, and everybody loved wearing it because it was nice and comfortable. Had a great professional branded look for the entire team. Or maybe the roofers get dirty, so it's like he knows that those shirts get thrown away all the time. They're not going to be a $20 polo, It's going to be a cheap throwaway t-shirt because realistically they're wearing it 2 or 3 times. Know your industry, know your market, and attaching something close that you're already into: churches, sports, hobbies, schools, events you participate in. What are you passionate about outside apparel decorating, right? I'm very passionate about apparel decorating, but anything outside of apparel decorating is, if you're a book club, start there, chess club, anything like that. Because you're going to know and you're going to be able to grow a little bit there. Now, some niches and audiences are going to be much larger than others, but we'll get into that here in a little bit where you could actually see that. And then if you need, like Trevor just mentioned in the chat, if you need somebody to fill your niche isn't growing as fast as you want, but you start branching out. So market to anyone and everyone. Now, that's easy to blast out on Facebook, but if you're just like, say, buying ads for custom printing on Google, that's going to get really expensive really quick, and you're not going to see the results because it's going to be such a wide net. Now, if you're doing, say, custom printing, you could get a little bit wider out of the net. All of the print shops that I've worked for ever in my entire life, Transfer Express installs being kind of the outlier because it's like more of a supplier in marketing to a lot of different businesses, but still the niche is apparel decorators, right? The last print shop that I worked for was heavily based on designers, artists, and musicians. That was the target audience, right? And for a few different reasons, but though that was where the brand was built on. It was built with touring musicians. The owner started screen printing out of the back of a van, asking how to get tour merch. Very similar to my own scenario. And even before that, the print company that I worked for was heavily ingrained in sororities, fraternities. So they identified these markets that had a print need that was quite common and hammered down on those markets to market their services. And the more targeted marketing you do, the more personalized it feels. And in the terms of marketing, when we're talking about marketing in general, marketing necessarily shouldn't feel like marketing, and it should be free when it works. So even if you're paying a lot of money, you should be making that investment back and more, right? So always things to keep in mind. When it feels personalized to you, you're much more likely to convert. Say, just for example, I run a church, right? And this brand is marketing. I use this one, and somebody called me out for it the other day, because they're like, there is kind of an overlap in that. But churches and, say, heavy metal bands like deathcore, right? Not really a matching audience. Now, some aesthetics, maybe the cross turned upside down for the metal shirts, but you get my drift. A church is not going to go, oh, wow, I love the look of this company. We're looking for custom shirts. Let's go to these guys. If you're showing just heavy metal shirts, you're going to attract heavy metal bands, other bands, maybe that like the skating, the skate brands or streetwear brands that are embracing that same aesthetic. You're not going to pick up local businesses or churches or, you know, schools showing off that kind of work. So keep that in mind when we're going through the rest of this presentation and what you're going to be doing there. So, yeah, let's move on from our target audience. And here is my reference to my pal, Trevor Murphy, Anheuser Designs. Trevor Murphy started with his passion for disc golf. The podcast is listed over on stalls.com or Stalls TV on YouTube or any place where you get podcasts. It's called Heat Press for Profit. We could have chatted for hours, but I think we were just around 40 minutes talking about how his passion for disc golf led to him opening a business and making it legit and taking this now on a long path and seeing some success. Trevor, you could chime in for how successful it's turned out for you. But I know I just saw that you were posting this morning that you're printing all those the event gear for like a St. Patrick's Day run or something. The high visibility vests, right? So maybe not necessarily for disc golf, but now that's branched out to everything else. And just like that, a lot of those passions, whether it be a church group or whether it be a chess club, a book club, or some club that you're, involved with, or an event, a lot of those other people have other passions or jobs, hobbies outside of that too. So say that one guy that you played disc golf with on 2 weekends ago, he runs a construction company or he runs a landscaping company and needs to outfit the crew. Hey man, these shirts for this disc golf event look great. Where did you get them from? Oh man, I produce them. I print them. I'll give you a great deal. And now you have a relationship with them. You have something in common. You've already itched at that niche, and boom, now you just converted another customer for a big job. Yeah. So Trevor Murphy just posted in the Heat Press for Profit group. Thank you, Trevor. But that is, if you're not already involved in the Heat Press for Profit group, I talked about that community here a little bit ago, built to help your business succeed, and tons of people sharing ideas, just like Trevor or John or Kathy Taylor, a whole bunch of our friends who are commonly here with us in the webinars, and just advocates for the apparel decorating industry, and kind of really elevating using a heat press in conjunction with your embroidery, or if you're screen printing, or just helping other people succeed with a low learning curve and allowing them to come into the industry. And in this global economy, the national economy that we live in, we're all actually in competition with each other, but for people to take time out of their day to help others, just like others help them get in the industry, it warms my heart to see. And I absolutely love it. So thank you guys for you guys. I see you guys in the chat right here helping each other out. I absolutely love it. So Michelle Scott, focused on 4-H groups to grow the business. Casey Swagger out of Kansas City specializes in spirit wear, kind of similar to my example earlier of like local spirit wear. So you're able to hammer in that marketing and target a specific niche. I used Casey Swagger in the last, as an example in the last webinar too. She just does such a fantastic job of being timely. So, I mean, Kansas City, we're talking about Kansas City. We all know about the big game that just happened, last month. So immediately, timely, right during all of those events with the end of the professional football season as it goes, and the buzz around the big game, the Super Bowl, right? I don't know if I'm legally allowed to say that. It's not, this is education, so I guess I could maybe slide by with saying it. But right when the Chiefs win, boom, posted on social media where her following is, targeted to the local audience. Hey, look, we just made these shirts, get yours now. They're going to, the pre-sale ends tomorrow or something, right? Whatever it is. But a great use of avoiding, number one, the licensing that you get in trouble with a lot of times with major sports, but being able to do really tasteful stuff that people love. There are 2 brands here locally in Cleveland that service that same spirit wear sports market while avoiding licensing. So if there's already one in your town, you could probably still fit in with the right solutions, the right art, the right designs, and hammering into that audience, because maybe that other brand focuses on the professional baseball team instead of the football team. And you could really lean into it too, So you could find your spot regardless of how crowded it is. Now, if there was like 3 or 4 brands around here doing, local team spirit wear, if you're passionate about it, it's going to show and you're going to have success. But if you're shopping for other ideas and you're like, that might be a good one, but there's 4 or 5 in your local area already, might be better suited to find something else. So real important to keep in mind there. So that's awesome. Yeah. Moni says, I'm a faith-based t-shirt business. And that's exactly what Bulldog Custom Tees does as well. Specialized in religion and the clubs and the community that they were already involved with. And it just blew up and expanded from there. I believe Bulldog Custom Tees was actually featured on another Heat Press for Profit web podcast just a couple weeks ago as well with Kelly Walters. So a lot of stuff. Janine asked, could you touch on college licensing a bit? So college licensing is very, very tight. A lot of those universities, because they have bookstores and rely on selling merch, hold all of those licenses very, very close to their chest and don't really allow other people to use it. But now you could get away with it by researching what trademarks and copyrights that each university themselves own, because some of them will even own, I was looking it up for somebody like Alabama State or something, like just the words appearing, just if it just says Alabama on a shirt, they were able to get like the trademark on that. So they owned it. So anybody else putting Alabama in a red font on a shirt has to get the licensing for them, or they could say no. We actually have a full replay of a webinar. It was a couple years ago. Andy did a great kind of licensing webinar where he went through the ins and outs and how to avoid those major copyrights. The largest, I will say, the largest infringed upon intellectual property as it comes to apparel decorating, and we're going to kind of talk about it a little bit, is Disney. If you go to Disney, every single person there is wearing a shirt for the family trip, right? So not 99% of those are not licensed. So those decorators could get in a lot of trouble. And as a small business, especially if you hung your hat on like, oh, well, I'm going to make, unlicensed, but around that Disney apparel. And then that's your niche. You've hammered home on it. And then you built your Etsy store up. It's getting great traffic. And Disney comes knocking and says, you got to shut it all down or we're going to take the house. Like, you don't want that to happen. Also, not really necessarily marketing, but if you haven't already, incorporate it into an LLC. It protects your business liability assets. It separates them from your personal assets. So an LLC does that. Sole proprietorship, depending on what state you live in, is very similar. But sole proprietorship, I believe your personal assets are still on the table in case somebody does bring legal action against you. So just keep that in mind. Get an LLC, super easy. Most of the cases, it's like $100 to file or something, the application fee. Sometimes you need an agent, sometimes you don't. It all depends on your state. But it was very easy for me to obtain my own LLC right here in the state of Ohio. And then you get a whole bunch of freebies because you get added to a registry, and then people send you pens and catalogs and all this swag right to your home, right? Or your business. But you could see that just like Trevor Murphy here, Adidas came at me once. Exactly. Yeah. You wanna avoid that stuff. It's scary as a decorator. And most of the time it does start with a cease and desist, but there are cases, I'm not mentioning names, but Disney, the NFL, MLB, some colleges will actually come at you for damages. If you've been doing it and ignored cease and desists, and then you're on the hook for a ton of money. So it's just better. I always recommend just try to avoid it. Okay. Don't be spending a whole bunch of money trying to defend yourself and ripping off other people's property, right? They're artists too. In a way, they pay artists. They might seem like the big man on campus, but no, I guess pun intended for the university question on there. So let's start talking about some basic pricing strategies. As we now have identified our niche, we have our niche, basic pricing strategies. What I recommend, number one, especially if you're using heat transfers, and you have a wholesale apparel, or even if you're buying from Jiffy Shirts, transferexpress.com, if you don't have a business license or a tax ID or anything like that, you could still purchase wholesale apparel at bulk discount prices from transferexpress.com. So that is something that we are very proud to offer. And there's only a couple websites out there that do sell wholesale apparel at a discount for the wholesale, but you don't need a business license like Sanmar or SNS or a lot of those distributors themselves who sell it very, very cheap. But if you have a business license, absolutely go to one of those suppliers and pad your profit margins even more. But just like we were talking about here, $17, I think Kevin's example was $17 for a tee, right? It's cost times 2. That is number one, the best way to be able to pay yourself, pay overhead if you do have overhead, or it's just more money in your pocket. Essentially, whatever it costs you to do, just multiply it by 2, and that's what you're going to charge your customer. Whether you are, now that's kind of really focused down like wholesale apparel. Now you might be able to bring that number down to be more competitive, but if you are a clothing brand and you're selling your stuff at retail, it's actually going to be more than double the cost of the garment, except when you get into like those hoodies or like jackets, where then you're making a slightly smaller margin on it, depending on your brand. Some people could get away with selling a $65 hoodie, right? I've seen it tons of times. When I was just out in LA, I bought a dad hat with just a single color embroidery on it for $50. So, I mean, it all depends on what your market can support. If you're going for a little bit higher end, say your niche is like polo or something like that, right? Or you're marketing to like tennis clubs or country clubs, you probably charge a little bit more for a premium polo, like $65, $70, versus like you're supplying school uniforms. Nobody's buying a $65, $75 hoodie. So you see now, we've already brought in our audience and how it's affecting our marketing. That's why our audience and our target market was number one in here, right? So let's just use it for example. Say I buy a blank shirt, it's $5. I buy screen printed transfers. Goof Proof from Transfer Express are my absolute favorite. Looks, feels, washes, and wears like a screen print, right? So I'm buying the screen printed transfers, and say the decoration on the shirt is $2, right? Whatever. So our basic ballpark here is going to be $5 for the print, or $5 for the blank, $2 for the print on it, whether it be inside neck hit and then a front, or however it shakes out. We're at $7 in total cost. That t-shirt is not leaving my shop for somebody paying the minimum that they're going to pay is going to be $14, right? Now, if you're buying in big bulk quantities, of course, you're getting better deals on the screen printing price, and you're getting better deals on the wholesale apparel. So say that's like, let's just say that was 12 shirts, right? $5 a shirt, $2 a print. That's kind of ballpark in that $12 range, right? So if that's 12 shirts for $14 a piece, which is probably, if you ran that right through, see up here, I have custom ink pricing comparison, or right up here. That's exactly what it's going to be. Order 12 shirts, one color print. Yeah, $14 a shirt. Now, if you bump that up to 100, it's not going to be $14 a shirt. It's probably going to be down more closer to like $7, $8 a shirt, because your total cost now, the garment's going to be $3 or $4, and then the print's going to be cents, $1 maybe. So you're going to be able to get that much lower in that price range, depending when it's quantity. So if you're doing wholesale, you're going to sell that to your customers. And, some people don't know the industry, and they come to you and say, I just need shirts for the family. We want this full color image, and we want it to look nice and cool, and have a photo of all of us at Disney from our last time to go to Disney this time. And you're like, well, it's going to be $25 for 6 of those shirts. And they're like, what? That's crazy. But if you go to Target or Walmart and buy something off the shelf that's not custom to what you wanted, it's not your artwork or your family on it, you're going to pay $25, $20, $30 for it, right? So if you're paying custom, you just have to manage their expectations and identify your audience. Now, if you are going for that Disney audience or like the family vacation, let's just say, I don't want to pick on Disney. Don't cancel my Disney Plus subscription. My daughter would murder me. But essentially, I don't like, that's going to be, if you're targeting that audience, you have to manage your price expectations there too, because probably they're going to go shopping on Etsy. So instead of quoting to Custom Ink or some custom supplier like that, go look at other businesses that are targeting that market, where they're selling. And you'll find a lot of times on Etsy, it says like as low as $16, but that's for like the youth extra small or the onesie. because they have them all listed in the same product listing. But when you select a real adult extra large, it's like, no, it's not $16, it's $28. So make sure you're looking at apples to apples and see if they're charging shipping or if they're rolling in there too, because that's all stuff that's going to help position your brand in the market. Yeah. So I just want to check the chat here real quick before we keep moving on. Yeah, Tamia, you will have the slides emailed to you. Anybody here live with us will email the slides out, but you miss all of the interactivity here with us and being able to ask your questions, stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, Mike asking about labor is a great thing when we're talking about cost. And that cost times 2 is 99% of the time able to cover your labor. And like that's going to factor in if you're paying yourself like $20 an hour, right? 12 shirts, going back to my original example, $7 cost, $14 retail price, 12 shirts, right? Printed with goof-proof transfers in a single or double location is going to take me 20 minutes to do. So if I'm paying myself $20 an hour, I'm going to make more than $20 of profit making those, right? If I'm making $7 a shirt times 12, that's 70 plus 14. I'm really bad at math. That's why I'm in marketing in the printing industry. But essentially then what? $82 you're making in profit for 20 minutes of work? Pretty good, right? That's more than enough to pay for overhead if you have to pay rent and just in 20 minutes of your time or a full hour. You know, you made $20 or you made $82 in a full hour of working. That's a pretty good profit margin, especially if you have no overhead, like Kevin had mentioned. Now, one thing I do want to call out here, and maybe Mike could help me out in the chat by dropping the link here, but we actually do have a great suggested retail price list that breaks things down based on the colors in your artwork that you're providing for customers. And it kind of varies based on, of course, the blank, but at least stuff, the ballpark range for pricing. We actually go through and update this every single year because if you haven't noticed, things are more expensive than ever. From milk and eggs to t-shirts or clothes at the store, everything went up in price. So every year we kind of adjust to the going market rate. But we have that great guide up there, right there, suggested retail pricing with Transfer Express. Let's see. Yeah, Mike should be able to drop that in the chat here for us, as well as the Lean Logo Formula, right? So this is a book that Josh and Zach Ellsworth put together from Stalls, all about how you could create a highly profitable business with a heat press from your home, in your shop, really anywhere. Even if you're an existing decorator doing like vehicle wraps or large format printing, banners, stuff like that, easily adding a heat press to your repertoire, diversifying the products that you offer, and being able to just absolutely crush it with added extra profit in your pocket, being able to cover your overhead and pay yourself, spend more time with your family or whatever you want to do with your time. But at least you're paying yourself for it right there. So let's, we'll continue going in here. I see Mike's answering questions. So Mike, if you can drop the price list link in there and the Lean Logo Formula. Oh, right there. Look, there it's coming. The chat's just delayed on me. I always have faith in Mike behind the scenes. We call him Fast Fingers Mike. I don't know how he types so fast. I talk fast. He matches me on the typing side, on the back side. So talked about our market. We talked about some basic pricing strategies. Now we're going to talk about our website. I see that you guys over in the chat section here have already started talking about Shopify and some online stores. So there's a whole bunch of different ways you could do it. I found Wix was just drag and drop, so super easy to build a website out. But of course, they all vary based on cost and the services they offer. I really encourage you to go. And a lot of them have free trials. So go in there, start poking around, see what you like. If it's inventory functionality or tracking, or you want it to incorporate with your point of sale because you're doing a lot of like vendor shows or craft fairs or like selling on site, and you want that inventory to sync with your point of sale system, that's something that like Squarespace does really, really well. Built for e-commerce. Same with WooCommerce. I know they're integrated with WordPress. So if you say you already have like a WordPress website, you're able to integrate that WooCommerce right in there, all in that same platform. Now, the pricing for all of these does vary, as well as how much they charge you on transaction fees. One of the absolute best ones that I have to mention here is Spirit Sale. You have unlimited stores. So if you want to do fundraisers for people, you could set those fundraisers up and be able to set up a store for here. Like if it's Bellevue, the example right above me, this is Spirit Sale. you have these customs, you market to schools, right? Education. So that's your target audience. And they go, well, we don't really want to buy everything up front. We don't have the money for that. We have to do all this fundraising and stuff if we want to do a bulk run or ask the athletic boosters. It would just be so much easier if you could just host a store for us that has all of the styles that we talked about, and then people could order them directly from you. And so we don't have any of the risk of buying stuff up front, and then we'll just pre-sell it. Then the store closes, then you fulfill everything, 2 weeks later, ship everything out, right? Spirit Sale makes that possible with literally a one-time payment. I think it's just somewhere around $600 per year, but there are no transaction fees. There's no credit card fees. There's no every single product you list, you have to pay a little extra cut or anything like that. No monthly subscription fees. It is just a one-time annual payment, and you're able to set up unlimited stores. So you could have your own brand up and running. You could, other creators in your area, you could set up their own fulfillment store. Say like that one buddy of yours from high school who got real famous on Instagram or TikTok. I have one. I have one friend who did that, but started running their own merch then, right? But if you already had that online store fulfillment, they don't have time to set up a Printful or anything like that, and they want to make more money anyway. Keep it in the local business, keep it with their friends or people that they know, other businesses to support them. They're going to go with you. And this gives you the ability to set up any amount of stores. So you're servicing those local schools, and every school, maybe even every club has like this is the Compton High School chess club store. And it's like, well, here's the tees, here's whatever they want to list. And it really expands your abilities as a custom decorator. Because that's always been the biggest thing, is to get a good price, you got to buy bulk. Not anymore. Not with heat transfers, not with Ultra Color Max, not with direct-to-film printing like that. You could order any quantity, still make it absolutely affordable. And as a decorator, not only make it affordable for your customers, like we're talking, look at that shirt, that $7 cost, $14 sell price. That's still, what if we said $20 is the gold standard? Like that's $6 under what everybody else is charging, right? You're going to win. You're going to be able to provide them awesome merch at a low cost and be able to win more jobs. When you say as one of your services, because we're going to talk about marketing your services in this webinar, like I could stand up a store for you. It is a value add. It is a differentiator for you as a business. That's something your competitors aren't doing. Even if you live in a little small town and there's already a custom decorator decorating the schools, well, could they stand up online stores for you that you have to buy everything in bulk and pay up front right away? Boom. That's your foot in the door. That's your marketing strategy. And then you approach them with a solution like this. It's not going to cost you any extra money. You're already paying for it to run your own brand or business through it, right? Add another store. Give them that option. And that's going to be a solution that's going to set you one step above your competition. Again, easy to set up. If you guys are interested in that, I could see if Mike could drop a chat or drop a link in the chat. The way that it all goes is that if you are interested, just schedule a demo. Because if you schedule a demo, we'll walk you through the entire kind of the workflow, and even on the Spirit Sale like product page, we'll call it, like the page on the Transfer Express website for Spirit Sale. You could actually, I think it's under marketing tools, but you could actually see live stores that are stood up, see how they look and feel to your customers, and be able to provide those as demos. If you're like on the fence about it, hey, look at this online store that I could stand up for you, and just be able to shoot them over a link to be like, here's a real legit online store. They could see and poke around in it. So right there, Mike just threw that right in the chat. So if you're looking for an online store, a great solution, because I mean, I did mention Wix or Shopify, WooCommerce, Big Cartel, Squarespace. Those are kind of the leaders in the e-commerce platforms online, but all of them have pricing that varies. I think Squarespace is one that you could get for free, but then like once you start getting so many products, or you list so many products, or so many people, so many purchases per month, they either shut your store down or bump it up to you have to pay for it. So just be very mindful of something like that. Wix, like I said, the real beauty of Wix, I love it for drag and drop. It's what I've always wanted like web editors to actually be. It feels like working in Photoshop, but you're building a live working website with like animations and click-through paths. It's great. So I've used a few of those personally, but it's going to be really what the features of your business specifically needs. But if you want to see, Ecwid, ECWID, that's a great one that I've seen that people are using. But there are a little bit of bugs here and there on all of these softwares, especially in terms of pricing or integration or downtime. Because when they are updating their servers in downtime, boom, your site's gone. And they usually let you know, and it's usually during the middle of the night, so it's not interruptive to your customers. But if you're running that flash sale and like, oh, that kind of sucks. It could be really bad and hurt your sales as it goes. But your website is your storefront, especially if you're running your business from home or the back of a workshop or something. Like, that is your storefront. That's like back in the day. I mean, if some of us might still go to malls, but back in the day when we go to the mall, you walk into the storefront. That is your website. So your website is your number one sales tool, your number one salesperson, and your best marketing effort all up front. Make it look real deal, professional, just like this one with the Spirit Sale. Like, everything's branded purple. Like, that feels personalized to the school. They're much more likely to convert on that with their own branding, you know, on that when you're standing up stores for other people. In terms of the website, how are you getting them to your website? How are you managing your customers? How do you know your audience? You know, where are they at? And that is why it's important to build an email list. We're going to touch on social media next, but I wanted to put this one first to get us start thinking about why it is important to own your own list. So every time a customer purchases from you, you have their email. So that could be in the, you know, if you're doing the special, like, hey, 15% off, you're just trying to fill some capacity, see if there's any feelers out there. You're looking to fill some gaps in your production schedule. Hey, 15% off, we'll throw you on a run. Or like, hey, I accidentally bought way too many, you know, Gildan 5000s or Next Level 3600s in black. Hey, I'm running this special. If anybody needs black t-shirts with a one color print, it's this price. This allows you to stay engaged with your customers. It keeps you top of mind, keeps you in the email inbox. Don't spam them, because then you're just going to get people unsubscribing. But there's great resources that you could use to maintain and even set up automations now without breaking the bank. And automations would be like if somebody purchases from you, 10 days after they purchase, it automatically emails them and says, hey, how was your purchase? Let us know on social media, right? Share your project on social media, tag us for a chance to win, be entered in a raffle to win $25. Whatever you wanted to make it, you're in control of it. But now that's exponential marketing that you could do. And it's something that you just essentially set it and forget it. You set up the automation. It integrates with MailChimp, Constant Contact, or even like ActiveCampaign. All of these services that you could get into. I've personally used MailChimp for a long time. The deliverability ratings are pretty good for like a free platform where everybody else just goes on and spams people with email. But it's a great tool. Same with Constant Contact. I think Salesforce, if you really get into like some of those like customer resource management kind of stuff, that like you could get into and integrate with websites or like set up automations to keep contact with people and keep your brand top of mind. But great uses to be able to communicate with them. Now there's going to be a large overlap, right? A large overlap with your social media audience and your actual email list, because a lot of them are probably customers who already talked about you online or followed you to see what you're all about, because that's where a lot of people go these days to see if a business is legitimate. Well, how active is their social media? Let's head on over to their Facebook profile. Oh, they haven't posted since 2016. I wonder if there's still a business, if this website's just old and it's like hooked up to a credit card that's just paying. If I give them money, are they going to actually produce my stuff? So that's why it's important to have this whole persona online to build trust with your customers or your prospective customers that they are making the right decision, that you're a legitimate business. So that's why, it's important to have an email list too. When we talk about social media and mixed with email lists, if you have people who follow your business page on say Facebook, for example, it's like 3% of your followers will actually see your post without you boosting it. So they don't really show a lot, but your email is going to get delivered to every single one of those inboxes unless they close their email account. Of course, there's promotion filters and stuff if you're using Gmail, which I love. Keep some of that spam out of my inbox, keep it more filtered and directed to what I want, but it's still going to make it in there. And I will go through my promotions every day to make sure I'm not missing a sale. Maybe I don't open every email, but when it's like, hey, flash sale on this, and it's like, oh, let me see what that is, I'll go to the promotions tab and look at that. So if it's like, hey, t-shirts, and somebody's like, well, I need more black t-shirts for my restaurant or whatever, and they're a 2-year-old customer that hasn't ordered in 2 years, like that's a great way to keep them engaged. So just maintain those lists right there. Yeah, Sean, sorry, you're gonna need that in video and print because it's a lot of information. It is. I'm very happy to pack all this in, but like I mentioned, like almost every single one of these slides, whether it be social media or email marketing or pricing strategies, I could hold an entire webinar on just an hour itself. So I see that we're already at like 50 minutes in. I got a ton more to cover, so I'm gonna speed up. So Sean, I'm sorry that it's going to get even more fast and even more hard to digest. I don't want to say hard to digest because you pick and choose what the stuff that you're like, ooh, I'm already kind of doing that, or ooh, I haven't thought about that. Make a note to revisit. And so, I mean, if you're just getting into the industry and you're looking at marketing for really the first time, this might seem overwhelming. Make those notes and take each step at a time, because then once you start checking off these steps down the list, each step up the mountain. Each little task is just a step up the mountain, whether it be, okay, let me set up a MailChimp account. Okay, let me open my storefront. All right, let's get our social media all bolstered. And we haven't even talked about products and services yet, right? So you're starting to check all these boxes. Every single box check is that step up the mountain. And then you get up, halfway down the list, you look back, you're like, wow, I'm really high up this mountain. My brand is looking great. And you start seeing those orders flow in, right? So just take it step by step, okay? You absolutely can do this. I've seen so many decorators do it, and so many bands too. I've seen bands do it. Bands, businesses, brands, schools, entrepreneurs be able to take these small steps and really take a hobby to a side hustle, to a full-time gig, to employing people, and then in 20 years handing the business off to their children. And that is such an awesome cycle to see. And I see it all the time going out and talking to apparel decorators just like you live in person at these shows. So really, really powerful stuff. And you are in control. 100% guarantee it. You are in control of your future. Grab it. Take it. Seize the day, right? I've been watching Coco a lot with my daughter. Seize your moment, right? I love that movie. One of Disney Pixar's best. I love you, Disney, right? I told you. So we talk about email marketing, right, as we go through that one. But social media tips, right? It goes hand in hand with any marketing, just because, like how I mentioned, people are going to go to your social media to see if your business is legitimate, see what other people are talking about, see if you have any engagement on your posts, or at least to see the services that you offer. I mentioned Trevor at the beginning of this, if Trevor's still hanging out with us. But Trevor does a great job of just showing all of the weird stuff that he's decorating on. So like, if you're not showing it on social media, and social media is a great place to do it because it's super low risk and it's free, right? So like, if you have some prospective customers checking you out, or somebody finds you on social media and they're like, oh, I just need some t-shirts. Cool. You're probably showing t-shirts a lot. But when you have those weird jobs for those mesh, high visibility, vests, somebody's like, I don't know if you could print on that. That's kind of a hard garment. Like, that's weird. Do you have to go to a specialty printer? But you're showing that you could do it now on your social media. So people are instantly like, wow, I could do this. Like, or this guy could do this. Like, it looks great. And especially when it's like, you need something for a 5K in a month, and wow, the guy's doing it today or last week, whenever you see it, like, that's fantastic. It builds trust in your business and it's advertising your services. So, that's why I say, like, just use photos of your work. Don't get intimidated by the TikTokers doing the silly dances, right? It's fun to do those silly dances, but anybody just being authentic and showing their business the hustle, the drive that you put behind it, the passion that you have. Like I said earlier, if you're passionate about that industry, it's going to show, and you could just be authentically you, and other people in that market are going to be like, I found him, my person. Like, I'm looking for somebody to do this who actually understands how to play chess, because that's one of my passions, right? Not my passion personally. I'm awful at chess, but that's the example, right? I found somebody who's passionate about this. Wow, they're doing this. They did that for that guy. I watch his YouTube page, like, right? So you see where this is going. The snowball starts building. So that's one thing. Just show what you're doing. Show the passion that you're putting behind it. Don't put too much thought into it or get intimidated. Like, who's going to want to see this? Think about your customers. Think about what you want to show. So with that in mind, a few basic tips. Back to the slides, so I get off my tangent, so we could actually wrap this up in a respectable time. We still got a few more slides to get through here, and by a few, I mean I don't even know if we're halfway in. But I love that you guys are interacting here and asking questions and stuff in here, and being able to, Mike's talking about linking his domain with Wix. That's and that's awesome. And Absolutely awesome. Love you. Love what you guys are doing in the chat here. I saw, what was this one? It just got bumped. Amanda asked, what about LinkedIn for social media? Yes, absolutely. If your niche is small local businesses, that's where they are. So I was about to get into that. I'm glad I went looking in the chat because that is absolutely perfect. But go where your audience is. So like those business professionals, you're going to be way easier to find those small local businesses on LinkedIn. That's where they're trying to grow. Go to a chamber of commerce meeting. Join your chamber of commerce because you want to know what? Your audience is probably already there, right? And use that as a marketing tool. Build those relationships. Maybe start going into their businesses. That's the one thing that I heard a story of and I repeated a lot is like, you could even hit up the landscapers, the businesses that you already contribute to, the landscapers at your house. You'd ask like, hey, I see that you're not wearing a branded t-shirt. Do you know who buys the apparel for you guys? Oh, yeah, well, I don't have any uniforms. Or like, I did, but it wasn't moisture wicking and it's hot outside today, so I'm wearing my own. Now you are equipped with the information. They're probably going to be like, yeah, Joe, the owner, is the one who bought us the last ones, but it's been 6 months. Now you seize your moment, right? So you go and say, hey, I could give you a great deal because you know he's probably price conscious, running his business. He wants to protect the bottom line. I can give you a great deal on these dry fits where your crew is going to look great. Here's an example. We're going to talk about samples or mock-ups here in just a little bit. Here's a sample, a mock-up. You get this whole picture. Boom, they are sold right there. If you give them that price, you identified the market, you identified the needs. Man, I can make my guys, my crew happier. I could get some marketing opportunity for my business when they're out in customers' yards, trimming the bushes or mowing the lawn. Like that's marketing potential for me. You've now just completely changed the way that this business owner thinks about this by positioning it as a solution for them. So keep that in mind when you're marketing, right? So back to social media here, of course, LinkedIn, that great tip of finding those businesses, right? But think about where your audience is going to be. Say you're targeting those artists and designers. They're probably not going to be on Facebook. They might not even be on TikTok, or it's going to be a wider net that you're going to have to throw on TikTok. But I'm going to bet you they're probably going to be on Instagram. A visual format for designers or artists? Yes. So that's where you're going to set up your home base. I do recommend spreading out because not everybody enjoys the same platform, even in the same niches. I know some of the hobbies that I'm involved with outside of t-shirt printing, a lot of them revolve around Facebook groups, right? So I know if I want to advertise services to that niche, that market, I'm going to go to Facebook groups or Facebook in general to advertise that stuff because I know that's where the audience is. This could even be off of social media if you want to say like Reddit. If there's big subreddits that you're involved in about a certain niche or topic, like comic books or something, that's where you could go to start advertising your services. Make sure that everything looks good and you're linking back to your website then, because then you're going to let people see your stuff. And maybe when you have that really funny t-shirt, people start upvoting it and thumbs upping, and then boom, it's at the top of the subreddit. And you're able to do that. If you're unfamiliar with Reddit, it's just forums of crazy stuff people put on the internet. But say for like comic books or, sometimes print nerds like me, it's a great place to go to be with like-minded people to find your tribe, right? So find your tribe. But so Facebook is kind of more of a mature audience, let's say. A little bit older, skews typically a little bit older. So if you are in that business owner demographic, there's probably going to be a better chance of getting them there than on Instagram. Now, like the plant companies or the young and hip businesses and stuff, probably aren't really that much on Facebook. They're going to be more on Instagram. So that's why it's important to kind of diversify where you're setting up. Make a home base, set up your tent, your camp in one that you have identified as the most popular for your target audience. But you could branch out to others so that other people could find you. Because if you're just on Facebook and they only have an Instagram profile, they're probably not going to find you on Facebook. Instagram has a great feature too. If you're not really a Facebook person, anything you post on Instagram could be reposted to your Facebook page. So you don't even necessarily have to go there to post all the time. Really cool, right? And I do always say don't discount TikTok. We've seen so many small businesses just post, hey, pack some orders with me, or like, this is how I print my shirts. Boom. They blow up overnight to 200 million views, and they wake up the next morning to their Etsy store like just absolutely slammed, and they're like, I don't know how I'm going to fulfill this stuff. This is crazy. Not as volatile of an environment like TikTok once was, let's just say a couple years ago, where things were going viral all the time. But just like Wayne Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you're not posting the little reels, the reels are like short form video. If you're not posting little short form video of you packing an order, or like, wow, look at the detail on this print on this t-shirt, just stuff you find interesting, or like just be authentically you. You don't have to like super brainstorm. You could look at a whole bunch of like small business like ideas or thought starters for the videos. If you're hitting a wall creatively and you don't really know what to do, you could look some stuff up, just Google search, and just show your work. And it's great stuff to be able to put out there, just because so many people are scrolling on TikTok. I'm guilty of it too, right? I usually find myself after like 2 hours, like, well, I can't get this time back in my life. Oh my God, what am I doing with myself? But some of that stuff could be small businesses that I'm getting exposed to. And so just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes, we had our last webinar was literally all about social media. So I don't want to go over a lot of the stuff. And if you are interested in like a full hour and a half of social media talk, just go on our YouTube page, Transfer Express, or go on over to Transfer Express on YouTube, see the channel, and we have a whole bunch of stuff, on everything social media here. But some tips before I move on: quality over quantity. It's great to stay consistent. That's going to be one of the best things, is posting consistently on any platform. But you don't want to post just to post, because that's going to turn people off. The websites, the platforms themselves, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, see that people aren't really engaging with your content, so they're not going to show it that much. Like, people aren't watching your video because they're like, that's bad quality, or like, just you didn't wipe the lens off, it looks fuzzy and furry. Like, no. Like, you want to make sure you're posting high quality stuff that people actually just think about, like stuff that you watch. Like, when you get sucked into the TikTok scroll, what kind of stuff are you looking at, and kind of tailor that to your interest or your t-shirt business, if it is actually producing stuff, or maybe it's just somebody out, I'll use Trevor's example again. Like, let's throw some Frisbees, like show somebody in an awesome, shirt throwing a disc. Like, wow, I want that one. That's cool. Or like an event. It's like the event's coming up, and show the event shirt. That's awesome. Mike in the chat says, Dave, when you come to North Carolina, let's go for some barbecue. Yes, I absolutely love barbecue. Love that Carolina style barbecue. Lived in the low country of South Carolina for a long time. And I really do miss that. Nobody has barbecue like the South, but, Mike, I'm going to take you up on that. I might be going, maybe might be going to Graphics Pro in Charlotte, I believe, at the end of April. So if that's the case, if I do end up going to that show, we're going to get some barbecue in the Queen City down there. But some social media tips before we move on. Engage with your audience. So respond to those DMs, respond to interactions when you can, and just make sure that you aren't just posting, but then you're going out and finding those local businesses too. Like, go find every local business, the plant shops, the hardware store. Go find and engage with them on social media as well as in person when you're targeting that local audience. Like, that is very, very, very important to help grow your following. And the more pages that you like, people will like your page too. So when you're just getting started and trying to build that audience, go out and say, like, yeah, it's, motorsports. Like, I'm going to try to get into selling race t-shirts, right? Start going to the local tracks. Go find the local drivers. They probably all have great social media profiles. Go follow them, interact with them, engage with them. And they're going to be like, who's this guy that keeps like really digging my posts? They're going to be like, oh, this t-shirt company. Wow, their work is great. We're in the market for t-shirts. If you're not setting these breadcrumb trails up, nobody's going to go back down them. So not every single one pays off, of course, and this is an investment of your time, not necessarily money on social media. So just to make sure that that you're using your time wisely and setting these things up. But this is what helps people grow their businesses and followings on social media. So let's move on to another doozy: content and SEO. So yes, there is a lot. Oh, Deneen, Charleston Low Country. Yep, that's exactly where I lived. I lived in Charleston, South Carolina. West Ashley is where we lived for 5 years. Love that little town, man. It's been a while since I got back, but ooh, does it get humid. I'm being from Ohio natively, it gets hot down there, but I miss it every single time I get off a plane in like the South. Like, ooh, but all right, back to it. Love you guys in the chat, and some South Carolina barbecue love there too. Anytime you want to talk barbecue or printing, I'm in. Look how distracted I get. So let's talk about content and SEO, because this one's going to be a lot to cover. I want to try to get a webinar up that's like SEO for t-shirt businesses, because SEO is so deep and there's so many resources out there and there's so many conflicting kind of points of view. And it is actually ever changing, especially with the huge expansion into AI, right? You're talking about Chat GPT, OpenAI, all of these like chat bots out there that essentially could write code or write product descriptions or basically build websites for you, right? Well, because of how kind of volatile the SEO industry is right now, is that these AIs could absolutely do such a great job of, like, there used to be back in the day, this might show my age as a digital marketer, but there used to be things called keyword stuffing, right? So just like there's keywords here, it used to be that the little robots that would go through the code of websites would just look for specific keywords, so that when you were like, oh, hey, I'm looking for custom printed t-shirts, it looks for how many times custom printed t-shirts are mentioned on your website and goes, hey, I think this is a good website. Well, people started keyword stuffing just to get traffic when the pages themselves weren't even relevant. So Google had to change the way that they looked at these actual, the code of websites per se. Their robots crawled the page, as kind of it's called, right? So they looked into it and started having it read like a person would. So if it sounded more conversational or sounded like a person could understand it instead of just like stuffed keywords, the search result was going to be a better, more relevant to what the search term was of what somebody was searching, right? So it's not just necessarily keywords all stuffed in there, right? Anymore. So it is changing now with the AI coming into the game. So you can't just go to Chat GPT and be like, write me a SEO product description here, because now Google is running things that identify the little snippets, the grammar, the punctuation, the common phrases that AI is using, and it's not indexing the same as if you would write it. Now, I want to say I use those chatbots, and they're absolutely awesome as a tool in your toolbox, but it's just like any tool in your toolbox. Like, the wrench isn't building the car itself. You have to use the wrench properly to be able to build the car. So you could rely on those to get you a good start, even if you're just getting started, but it's just not to the point where it is absolutely perfect and flawless. And there's like tools you could use where you could paste it in there and it'll be like, yeah, this was 100% written by AI. And that's exactly what Google's using. So just be careful with that. But as I talk about keywords are a great way that you could still look, because keywords, phrases, anything like that are how people are searching. So right here, our example, if you could see on the screen right above me here, custom motorcycle t-shirts, right? Now, this is wordtracker.com, which is a free SEO tool that looks at search ranking positions, which is SEO. PPC is also in there as pay-per-click advertising, which is like the ads you see on Google, which we're going to touch on in just a minute here. But then also you could see how they're performing, the volume of them, and even a lot of these too. There's some websites there on the side. Google Trends is a free one. That's what I said. Like, Google allows you to look in the window into behind the scenes. They keep the keys to the kingdom. They don't give you the keys, but you could look in the window and see inside, and like, they'll just tell you what's trending. Now, for some small niches like this one, custom motorcycle t-shirts that we're using as our example here, it's going to have a hard time because that's probably not a super, super widely searched term, like, because they're thinking in terms of like trending. So it's like, who got nominated for the Oscar? Who's going to win Best Picture? Like, stuff like that as it comes up, timely news events, like that is really what Google Trends grabs. But say your market is t-shirts for current events, like, oh, we want to make a funny t-shirt for the meteor that missed Texas 2 weeks ago. Like, yes. So there you go. That's how you're going to identify that. So you could use it for your own business SEO, but also to identify what people are interested in right now. But that's a great tool that you could use to see how people are interested in your search. Now, even like this one, I use SEMrush or SEMrush, and that is one that's great because they have a keyword magic tool. Now, some of these are free. Some of them you do have to pay for. Some of them are free to, like, you research like 2 search terms, and then it's like, hey, you have to pay to research more, right? So SEMrush is great because it's going to actually recommend keywords. So if I typed in custom motorcycle t-shirts, it'll be like, here are the top 5 loosely based terms. So that is stuff that you're going to want to talk about on your website as well. So maybe it's not custom motorcycle t-shirts, it's custom motorcycle club t-shirts, right? Maybe whatever else is here. So this one kind of tells you too. This is Word Tracker. So just the same, custom motorcycle garage shirts, wholesale custom motorcycle shop t-shirts, custom motorcycle tees or t-shirts. So design ideas, hot rod custom motorcycle t-shirts. So you can see that, like, it starts to spin this to be like, okay, these are other search terms that I can incorporate in my website so that they are more likely to be indexed. Of course, Google Search Console is another one that if you're not already set up, you kind of need. Now, some of these platforms like Squarespace, Shopify, WooCommerce, they handle a lot of that SEO for you, so you don't have to manually set it up. But you want to make sure that you're set up in Google Search Console so that you could actually track where your ranking is and see if those on-page improvements are actually improving your business. Now, this is stuff that you could just look at and then check back in 2 weeks. You don't have to be a digital marketer checking stuff every single day, all day, right? You're a t-shirt business. So this is stuff that you can make these little tweaks every now and then, go back and check and say, oh, wow, that actually hurt my ranking. Or look, I jumped 10 spots. Google will actually tell you that stuff in there. So, yes, Steven, talking about Google Tag Manager will influence your rankings through your site's UX. Yes, there's a whole bunch of in-depth stuff that we could get into. That's a little bit more. That's a little bit more in there than I want to cover right here. But that is absolutely, that's a great tip there, Steven. Tara, I've never been asked to give a shout out before, but I will give a shout out to your daughter Sophia. And if she loves watching the videos on YouTube. Hey, Sophia, 10 years old, probably going to be an entrepreneur starting her own t-shirt business soon, right? So, Tara, boom, shout out to Sophia. And yeah, get started printing your t-shirts, Sophia, okay? Awesome. Mike says the barbecue in North Carolina is on you. I'm on my way, man. We'll get going. Let's see. Patricia asked, is there a tool that will broadcast a post to various social media platforms? So there is. One of the best ones. Now, it is a little expensive, but if you want it to be really like hands off, Sprout Social is one of my absolute favorite platforms for everything. Now, not only can you schedule posts in Sprout Social, but this is something I didn't necessarily touch on. So I'm glad you asked that, Patricia. But essentially, you could set schedules up and it will syndicate across all of your channels, Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. But one great tool on there, too, is that you could set up phrases. So if somebody says like Cleveland t-shirts, I'm targeting my local business. Anybody who says Cleveland t-shirts, like, does anybody know who's printing t-shirts in Cleveland? Anybody know a printer in Cleveland who could print t-shirts? Set those keywords up. And so immediately you could set notifications for somebody anywhere on the internet mentions that on any social media platform. Boom, it dings to you and you could jump on it right away. And a great way to be like, hey, yeah, I'm here. I could give you custom quotes. Hit me up in my DMs. And then immediately respond to that direct message or reach out to them specifically to say, hey, I'm more than happy to quote your job for you. What kind of color, quantity, what style are you looking for? Whatever you want to jump into and be able to offer those services, a great thing to do. So Sprout Social is one of my favorites in terms of that, syndicating everything around there. So, yes. Let's see. Find some Instagram tips and tricks on YouTube. Yep, absolutely. I'm sure you'll find a lot of stuff on there. We do have quite a few social media tips. And if you want to talk about like an hour and a half of social media, like what we're going on here with marketing, I told you there's a lot to cover here and we still got more to help your business out. But yeah, our last webinar over on our YouTube page, you could listen to it as a podcast or watch just like a webinar, just like this one, and be able to do that. So absolutely some really important stuff that you could use. So Google will tell you what people are searching. Make sure that you're just using the tools that Google gives you free. If you do really want to start diving in and getting that marketing mind going, like I would really highly recommend SEMrush, SEMrush, as a great tool for any digital marketer or anybody dabbling in that kind of side of the aspect of running a small business or e-commerce store online. That's really going to help identify even like how hard it's going to be to start ranking for a search term. They'll tell you like, yeah, this one's probably not going to work out for you because there's 20 other companies who have been doing this for 20 years and they have all of the clicks and the right SEO. And like we've pretty much tailored a lot of the results to be around their services. It's going to be really hard to get in there, like, so just be careful of that and mindful, but these tools will help you identify that before you really get into it. So just something to keep in mind. Now, as we talk about Google and SEO, one of the best things and easiest things that you could do, because if somebody searches your brand name specifically, like they're like, oh, what was the name of that business? Was it Dave's Tees? that at least you're going to show up, right? Especially if you are a local business. This is the Stahls Transfer Express, and this might look differently depending on what area that you search Stahls Transfer Express. If you're not in the Ohio area, it's probably not going to show you the directions to come visit us unless, you know, you're around here, or to have location services turned off or whatnot. But you could set up a free business profile telling people your contact information. Google is the new phone book, you know? So all the stuff that you would have in the phone book, or maybe even pay for a little ad, Google gives you the opportunity to have this for free when people are searching your specific brand name and it comes up. Or maybe even some like related services. Say small town, let's just bring a small town like Findlay, Ohio, right? Small printer. I think there are some print shops out in Findlay, Ohio, but say like Findlay, Ohio custom printing. If you type that in and you're the only printer in town, you're going to get your business profile popping up on the right-hand side of Google. So like if we typed in screen printer in Mentor, Ohio, I know there's a couple out here, but just with the amount of traffic that comes our way through Google, this is going to show up and be like, oh, Transfer Express, they're a screen printer in Mentor, Ohio. Here's their Google reviews. It is that like what you want to know about a business at a glance. Are they open? Oh, they're open right now. They close at 5 p.m. There's their phone number. Here's a click to their website, directions, call, anything. Check reviews for that social proof. Stand up your business profile and encourage people to review your business on Google, because people look at those reviews when they're shopping around between different customers. So yeah, you don't have to put the exact, I saw somebody in there asking like, if you have to put the exact address, you could put a PO box, or you could just say like services this area, because Google has this set up for online businesses as well. So not just physical businesses, but it will say like the phone number is active and you could call them until this time. Or maybe you just have an email address to say like, you know, it's info@transferexpress.com, right? Or anything like that. You have that set up. You could put that information in there. You could curate the photos that are up there and really be that like that phone book look for somebody who's looking at your business. You could even post specials too. There are abilities like if you're running a sale 25% off until the end of the month, it'll show up as a little icon underneath your business profile. How cool, and 100% absolutely free for Google. So yeah, just like here, it's mentioned on the side there, can list without a physical address. So you don't need people trying to find you as you go in. So we talked about Google and some of that just basic SEO stuff and the content that you should be putting on your website that's going to help Google find your business. And so not just Google find your business, but people, your prospective customers are going to find your business. But one aspect of Google, if you do want to dabble, I do say this is a little bit more advanced, so I'm not going to get too in depth, is buying ads on Google. It could get very expensive very quick. So I didn't talk about social media advertising all too much, but essentially with social media advertising, you're paying per impression. So anytime they show your ad to anybody, you're paying whatever it is, 2 cents, 5 cents. Sometimes it's even like 80 cents, $1 every time they're showing it, depending on, you know, how saturated the market is or how relevant your ad is. It varies in cost. Because if people are interacting with it and it looks like organic content, man, it's going to be a lot cheaper to show to people than like just here's my sale, you know. So it's interesting to be there. That's a whole other topic. But essentially, there you're paying per impression. With Google, you are paying per click. So not every time that somebody sees it. How many times do you go to Google and you see it says ad right next to it, or like this is a sponsored post, right? That business is not being charged by Google until you click on that ad. So that's why it's called PPC, or pay per click advertising. Now, it could get very expensive very quick because say you are trying to rank for, let's just say we're going to go after Custom Ink, right? I could buy ads on Custom Ink. So I could go advertise directly against Custom Ink. But Custom Ink already probably has a lot of people bidding. So it's just like an auction. They have a lot of people bidding on that same phrase because they know it's like custom printed t-shirts or searching their name specifically. They want to capture some of that traffic, right? So maybe the cost per click to get on that first page of Google, because say Custom Ink is saying, hey, we don't want anybody to beat us. We will pay $6 per click for somebody to find our website first, right? So they're buying an ad on their own business name. Now this doesn't happen all the time, but it happens a lot, right? At least in my decade of digital marketing, right? So that link at the top, they're paying $4 or $5 for, to say, we don't want anybody else to beat us. We're okay paying this price. But they know everybody is trying to come in underneath them, and Google will only show so many ads. Otherwise it turns into Instagram, right? That was a joke. Just because I'm a little bummed with Meta for when I'm on my scroll, there's a lot of ads, right? But so Google will only show 1 or 2 ads before the search results. And then at the end of the page, or now that they've got rid of the pages, it's just like you get to the end of the first page of results, and then it puts another ad or 2 in there too. So then you go scroll again and it puts another ad in there too. So really, to make it on the first page to advertise against Custom Ink, you might have to be paying exactly what they're paying. $3-4 a click. And then say you get 100 clicks a day, because Custom Ink gets a ton of traffic, right? Do you have the revenue, or do you have the money on the side to be investing $300-400 a day into Google just because people are clicking? And that doesn't mean that they're converting. Sometimes it's an errant click. They click the first result and go, whoa, this isn't Custom Ink. This is some other business. No, I wanted Custom Ink. And then they click back. You just paid Google for that traffic. So you want to make sure that if you're advertising on Google, that you have that audience locked down, that you have the keyword set. It's not necessarily something that's like super easy to jump into. It requires a little bit of research. So it is a great tool. Now, if you're running an e-commerce store, an online brand, this is where Google Shopping ads become a little bit more accessible, a little bit more palpable for you to be able to go in and quickly buy these ads. So you see on the example up here, there is a search ad. So custom vacation shirts is a great example here. That is what the search term was on Google. Now, the first ad that pops up is Rush Order Tees. The second ad that pops up is Custom Ink. And then there's Bonfire, which is another t-shirt printer, right? So right there, the first 3 results are big money, investment-backed printing shops. I don't know if Rush Order Tees is backed by investors, but Custom Ink is this huge national chain. And what a lot of people think of when they say like, oh, I just need custom t-shirts for my vacation, for my family, right? Boom. Vacation t-shirts, no order minimum. They've paid for that ad. And as you can see, I don't know if it's purple. It looks like we clicked it. So whatever Custom Ink is paying for that, right? You have to pay for that. So, but the shopping ads over here on the right-hand side allow you to attach a picture to a product with a price and get people to you. So whether you're just running an Etsy store, or your Shopify, your WooCommerce, you could set a product up there that links directly back to your site, right? But you want to make sure that you have all the details on that page, because you don't want somebody to be like, wow, I love the look of that shirt. They click on it and it's like, it doesn't say what blend the fabric is, and like the photo's obviously mocked up, and it's like, is that really what it's going to turn out to be? Now you're losing trust with me. There's no reviews on the page, or it's not Etsy where it says like, this is a star seller. They've fulfilled 3,000 orders or whatever, right? There's none of that. So like now you're losing that trust. And even though you got them with the ad, they're not converting with the website. So before you spend money pushing people to your product pages, make sure all of those product pages are optimized with all of the information, the fit, the sizing info. Go look at other stores and see what they put, and put them for your own in there. But for custom decorating, it gets a little bit difficult with shopping ads per se, because you see a lot of those are like Etsy, where it's like custom family vacation. They're tying to their specific like product listing that they're going to customize for you. But it gets a little bit harder when you talk about that. So there are PPC ads, which is the general, like you're paying per click with anything on Google. The shopping ads are the images that we see up there. The search ads we've talked about that show up in line in search and say, this is a sponsored post. And then sometimes even here, you could see that they have great links underneath. So like, they have the design family trips online is the first result from Rush Order Tees, but then it says company logo shirts, start designing now, custom t-shirts, custom polo shirts. So it's already grabbing some other sections of their website, because if you're like, well, I don't have a design, and it says start designing now, like you could go click on that, right? So how much are you willing to pay to go toe-to-toe with them right here with custom vacation t-shirts? Maybe the search term, when you use one of those SEMrush or Google Trends or anything like that, you can see a matching keyword is like Mexican vacation shirts. And maybe they're not buying keywords on that then. So it's going to be a little bit cheaper, but you could see as we hammer into this specific little niche, or like Daytona Beach t-shirts or something like that, like you could start hammering into this niche and seeing how many people are bidding on that. Now, one thing, as I talk about Google Ads, you could actually go in Google Ads and see who else is spending money on a specific search term. So you can see who's owning the absolute top of page. So who is paying You don't see exactly how much they're paying because, of course, it's an auction. They got to keep you at a guessing price. And if nobody's paying, like say Custom Ink set their bid at $4, but nobody's betting $5, they're never going to be charged, over that. If it's like $2 is the other going bid, okay, we'll charge you $2.20 and you're set there. So, and then of course, remarketing our display ads. That's when you're reading the news and you see an ad and you're like, well, I was just on Amazon looking for new boots. And then you see an ad for new boots over on the side. That's part of the ad network that Google owns that advertises on third-party sites as well as Google. But a lot of them are on third-party sites. And you set those for like remarketing, essentially, because somebody's seeing your product for the first time. It's like whizzing past the billboard for the first time. You're like, I'm never going to remember that when I need to buy a t-shirt, right? Remarketing, you really want to like put in a list or people who have visited your website to be like, hey, we're still here, stuff like that. So, yes, John, we're gonna have to slow down the speed to catch up on the rapid cadence. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get through so much here today. We're getting to the home stretch here. So displays, proofs, and samples. This is really how you're going to, especially if you're like meeting with businesses in your area or you're custom decorating, you're trying to convert people over from another printer or anything like that. Quality comes up. They want to touch and feel. I know that was a big thing with like bands that when I was printing for other bands, they're like, well, how does it feel? I want it to be like soft. And I started using water-based inks, which are a hassle all on its own when you're actually direct screen printing yourself, but they wanted that feel. And so I knew that's what they wanted. I switched over the entire printing process. Had to buy brand new screens and squeegees and inks and all that stuff to actually be able to use it or to be able to produce it properly. But they wanted to feel the shirt. So I would just invite them, hey, feel my band's shirts. They're going to be the same. I produce them the same, and then that would sell them. Now, if you have full color, there's full color transfers and screen printed transfers. And if they're like, I really like the look and feel of screen printing, you could show them a screen printed shirt with goof proof on it and go, here, this is my quality. Oh yeah, wow, that's soft. That feels great. How durable is that? They give it a little tug and a stretch, and they're like, wow, that's durable. Great, fantastic. So you have these samples that you could show them, right? At Transfer Express, we do offer a free sample pack. So if you are on a super shoestring budget, right, and you just want to show somebody the quality, you could order the free little mini sample pack. The one example here, I think it's over on this side, depending on how my picture is laid out for you. But those little tiny mini t-shirts, they're great. They're so cute. They're made for like teddy bears, but the little samples that we sell could be printed on them. And then it's just an easy little catalog. Now, this example up here or up in the big image is actually youth shirts or extra small shirts, right? Put a grommet and then just a like carabiner and clip them all together with a grommet. So it's like a flip book of all of these actual t-shirts with ink on real 100% cotton fabric. Or like, oh, well, we're going to do a 50-50. So how is it light on a 50-50? Oh yeah, I got a 50-50 in here with this ink on it. Feel it. That's going to build that trust and the customers are going to feel confident. Now with the custom printing industry in general, there is a lot of inherent trust that our customers have with us, right? Because essentially you are charging them money up front for something they hope turns out well. It's not like you're going to Target and could touch and feel the t-shirt that you're actually going to buy. Your customers are giving you money hoping and with the trust that you're going to bring their vision to life, right? So make sure that you are managing expectations and you could give your customers the confidence that you have exactly what they want or what they're expecting upfront, and samples are going to do this. So a great way to be able to do it. Now, of course, it's a lot easier instead of showing them a little tiny sample to be like, hey, look at this shirt, this real example that I printed for myself, or look at, whatever it may be, whether it be a full color transfer, like here's a full color transfer that's actually at size, because it's going to feel different if it's just a tiny little print on a tiny little t-shirt, So like having a big, say they want that full front, like 11 inches by 11 inches, they want to feel how it's going to feel at that scale. You're going to need a big one there. So just want to make sure that you have that. Now, one other thing, this one says displays, proofs, and samples of this section, but I want to talk about designs too, because art is one thing that's often overlooked by apparel decorators, especially custom decorators and brands alike, because then they don't factor in like, well, I'm not a designer. I have to pay somebody to make this design for me, right? So don't factor that into the costs. Same with custom decorators, is that a lot of print shops go, no, you don't have print ready files? sorry, you're out of here. And Trevor could probably jump in here because I know how much he uses the EasyView Online Designer. As a designer myself, I use the EasyView Online Designer all the time because when I used to have to go in, say, okay, so let's jump down some of these things. I'll tell my story as it relates to these. Like the t-shirt design services is a differentiator for you as a business if you can, number one, provide it, and number two, provide it at zero or no cost. Whoa, right? But a lot of times customers will come to you and go, I don't really know what I want. Like my buddy just hit me up the other day. Hey man, I want a logo for my business I'm starting up, but I don't really know what I want. I'll know when I see it, right? T-shirts and design logos. This isn't Netflix. You're not just browsing around, right? I have to spend hours in Illustrator now concepting logo, comps that essentially my buddy could be like, nah, I don't like any of those. I was thinking more something like this. And then send me a Google screenshot. It's like, dude, I just wasted 2 hours doing this, man. And when you're running a business, time is money. We've said that several times here, that you need to compensate yourself for time. So offering free design when you're designing in Illustrator, you're not going to find anybody doing that. No way. Maybe if they're buying like, oh no, if you buy 1,000 t-shirts from me, I'll do the design for free because it's kind of built into the cost there. Like you're going to make a lot of profit on it, right? Time is money. That's right, Trevor, right? So time is money, and being able to provide a lookbook. Just here, I have the idea book shown up here, and this is, let me hide my little mug here so you can see that I'm not hiding the images down here. So like the lookbook is the Transfer Express idea book, ties to the EasyView Online Designer, right? So when your customer says, I don't really know what I'm looking for, right? You show them the book, pull out the idea book. All right, well, I have hundreds and hundreds of t-shirt designs right here. There are 10,000 plus pieces of clip art and customizable layouts that we are adding at least 3 new layouts every single week, right? To the EasyView Online Designer. And so here in the idea book, they go scrolling through. There's sports, there's work sections, there's travel sections, there's holidays, occasions, stuff like that. They're all color coded on the side. You can see like the work and sports up there on the right hand side of those pages. But essentially, it's this entire book. Actually, let me bring my photo back up because I have one right here. Right. So this is like the idea book. It is in this binder form, so you could even pull it out. You say you're going to talk to churches. You could pull the schools and the sports out so they don't have to go thumbing through all of these pages, schools and sports and everything like this. So look, we're in sports. There's cheerleading, and now we're in fitness, and now we're in football. There's all of these different market segments that say you're sitting down with a school. You could bring all of these up here. So I think, what's that page number on there? 80 something. I'll go to the one that we have open right here, right? So there is all of these pages. Your customer could look at this one and go, yes. So they're a trade or a landscaping company. They're looking at, ooh, I like this heating and cooling one, right? That's cool, but I like this one right here. But for our example here that I'm showing you on screen that I'm kind of covering up, is you could edit this to be whatever it is. It shows the creativity and the customizability of what you can do with it. So let me hide my picture here as I put my idea book down. Essentially, you take this layout. It's QBU 394. And we could swap out the clip art. We could change the text. We could change anything on it to make it whatever you want. Compton Junior High School lacrosse instead of heating and cooling. You could see that it mixes and matches all of these different market segments, and you could cross those over. So maybe you don't want to take those pages out. You want them to browse through and just be inspired. But this is how, in just 10 minutes, you could sit down with somebody who has no idea what they want. Now they have an idea. They know, what they like, because like maybe they're identifying a few things. It's like, oh, this guy likes clean, not complicated, simple shapes, simple artwork. That's his aesthetic that he's going for, right? A lot of businesses do go for that. So like, boom, here you go. Clean, simple aesthetics. And then maybe even you could suggest ones that are your favorite. Like, well, look at this. Now this book, if you notice when I held this up, this idea book is unbranded. Your business name will go right here. There's no Transfer Express anywhere on here, right? It just looks like an artwork catalog. So when you have this, excuse me, you could sit down with customers, and this is your capability. If you are just starting out, right, it makes you look like you are fully capable and you have been in business for years because they think this is all your artwork and your system, right? And in this case, now I don't have to start from scratch, finding fonts, the right font, or like, ooh, what was the name of that athletic font that I liked because it's one of the ones that I want to use here. No, none of that. No looking for clip art or redrawing stuff in Illustrator. The stuff that would take me, and I mean, I'm a classically trained graphic designer. I could probably get some nice logo designs in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but I could bust out a print ready file now in under a minute. Finding the layout when the customer's already picked it. There is no guessing game. You could almost design in real time. By the time they email you back, like, oh yeah, here you go. It's ready to go. Here's it mocked up and everything, ready to go. And then you could offer it for free when it literally takes 2 minutes for you to do. Don't charge for it. And then that's a differentiator against anybody else in your business or in your market, right? You're that custom decorator in Findlay, Ohio. Oh no, we'll print anything for you. You don't need print ready artwork because most businesses, landscapers, restaurants, those local businesses, they don't have artwork. They hired some designer or somebody's buddy made them a Photoshop file 2 years ago that wasn't even print ready then because it turned out, Jerry's cousin really didn't know how to use Photoshop, just said he did, right? So having that ability to offer that as one of your services differentiates you from the competition and is going to win you more jobs. This is just one of the solutions able to do that for you, right? So all of this artwork is kind of, it's not like Canva where you could just go see it anywhere. And they would have to know we exist to be able to find that. But you could even send them the digital catalog. I saw that that Mike went in there and dropped easyprints.com. You could see that. Now, it's not branded to your business. It's just Easy Prints branded. So it looks like an artwork catalog that essentially you bought into. But it does not say anything about us. Your customer does not know that we exist. Trevor says, I love bringing folks in to help in the designer themselves. And that is another thing that the online designer actually does have this mode. Let me see if I could screen share. We are doing terrible on time, but this is super helpful. And I just want to show you how we can make this happen, right? So I'm just going to jump over to transferexpress.com. And that's this one right here. So let's just click on online designer. We'll jump into the online designer. Now I am broadcasting, so it's just going to be a little bit slow on my end here. But so essentially here, you're in the online designer. Let me just, well, I don't need to hide my bookmarks bar, but I will hide my bookmarks bar. And then what you could do is before they sit down, you go full screen. So they don't see any of the, they don't see the URL up here. You just go full screen. So we'll go full screen. This is just Google Chrome, right? And so now say we add some artwork in here in the designer. I'm just going to grab one of these ones here. Screen print, let's just say we need 48 of these. That's one. We have all this extra space on our gang sheet, so ignore my pricing and everything right here. But for the aspect of, look at this pricing right here. You don't want your customer to see how much you're going to cost, and then you don't want your customer to see that Transfer Express exists. So on your computer, already fired up, click this over to customer mode, right? Boom. Now I can put my quantity in. I can still save the job. So then when I'm sitting with my customer and they say, oh, yeah, we don't want it to say Compton. We want it to say whatever, let's say, Mentor. As we're here in Mentor, Ohio. Let me just not put it in all caps, right? Mentor softball. I'll confirm it changes in real time. They say, oh, well, it's going to be going on a red shirt. So here's a red shirt. Let's change it over to white inks, right? So that baseball doesn't look crazy. Boom. Now they could see this in real time. They're like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Or maybe it's not my daughter. They want to say that's my brother out there, right? So boom, we'll pop that in. We could change all this stuff in real time. You could drag and drop, edit, resize, anything. If you're unfamiliar with EasyView Online Designer, this is what I'm talking about. Boom. Now, how long would that have taken me to create in Illustrator? Being super fast, I would have to find that font to be like this nice bubbly font, the other script font up here, and then I'd have to find a baseball clip art or steal one from the internet and live trace it. This is pretty simple, but maybe 10, 15 minutes. I just produced this in 2 seconds, right? So that allows me to sell it. But now here, I could set this, go 48 quantity, right? Boom, save the job to my account, right? You could even put folders in here. We have a whole bunch of folders in here. So you could save it to a folder, new jobs, save it out. And then when you get home, your customer doesn't see how much it costs. I'll even hide my little camera here. So you can see that there's just a next step and it's even grayed out, right? So they can't even go in for proofing or anything. But I'll keep me hidden here as I'm just looking to the side. But we go back to design mode, boom. Now Transfer Express comes back up, boom, we have this. That's our pricing there. We're at $169 for a full gang sheet. We can set cut apart, whatever we want it to be. Boom, it's going to pop in here, and we see what our stuff's going to look like. We can review, approve, add to cart, know all of our proofing with cut apart added, see all this breakdown on our back end, but our customer never saw this. They thought that this was our designer, or they don't know what Photoshop or Illustrator looks like. They don't know what it is. There's no pricing. There's no nothing in there, right? This is power and capabilities at your fingertips to help you market your business. All right, back to the slides. We will, let me jump right back and to where we left off. There we go. Perfect. So you can see that EasyView, the EasyView Online Designer ties into the idea book, allowing you to create professional artwork in just minutes. And even, yes, as a designer, I got to say, I was originally like, online design? No. I'm not going to use it. I'm an Illustrator guy, but seeing how efficient this was, and for me to be able to put artwork together in just minutes saved me time, didn't hurt my pride. I mean, I'm still paying student loans for me learning how to use Illustrator and Photoshop. And like, now I use those design fundamentals still here in EasyView, and you could design from scratch too. You can add text, shapes, whatever it may be. So even if you want to do like fully custom stuff, you absolutely can do that in there too. So Trevor says, yes, the same exact way. Yeah. I cringe at the thought of designing alongside a client. Andrew, I've been there too many times, and I will agree. But sometimes it's just easy to be able to, you already blocked out that hour to sit with them. And they're like, yeah, because they're always like, move it a little bit to the right. Now make it a little bit bigger. I don't like that. Can we change the font on that? And then, yeah, 3 hours later, you're like, all right, man, I'm going to start charging you like I'm a lawyer here. So, Andrea, absolutely. I feel your pain there too. But at least this makes it easy, especially if you had the basis already in the book. Said, yeah, oh yeah, it's this one. I really like this design, but I just want to change it to a soccer ball instead of a basketball, right? If you can even see that it's a basketball, right? Like, I just want to change it. Boom, easy. Change the text and go, ready, approved, ready to go. But I want to show you something even cooler that you could do here with this idea book. So there's mock-ups too, which I think is coming up in a couple slides. I was out of order. Yeah. So this just goes into the marketing kit, includes this idea book, right? And so the Transfer Express marketing kit, I know Trevor was just talking about it in there. Yeah, what's the talking about 6-pack of beer? But Trevor was talking about the marketing kit in the chat section in a little bit. And so the marketing kit does include the idea book, right? I call this the meat and potatoes because unlocking that customized to your business. This book by itself, if you do want to buy it, you can buy it a la carte. It's just $15, right? Another huge thing is the color selector swatch book that comes in there. I just happen to have one in my drawer here. But the color selector swatch book is another $20. Now this shows off when we're talking about those display samples, right? Boom. Like, your customer wants to see your ink colors. Like, how close is that blue to our blue? Well, you could custom Pantone match it, but you could save some money if it's like, nah, I just like this one, right? And this is just the Royal, but say they wanted like Pantone 2935 or something, like, man, that's real close. They could save money by using that standard ink color. This also is not branded to Transfer Express, branded to Easy Prints. So your customer does not know we exist. This looks like your standard ink colors. So you could pitch this to them with those standard ink colors. This by itself, $20, right? Then, as another part of that marketing kit, you get 20 display transfers. As we talked about making samples, right? Making full-size shirts. Even if you're just starting your business, it makes it look like you've been printing for at least a couple years with the smattering of designs that are available in there. Everything from the screen printed transfers to full-size, full-color prints for a wide variety of markets. There's tons of school stuff, and there's even some niche stuff in there for holidays and stuff like that. So a whole bunch of stuff that's in there in that marketing kit. So with the display transfers, the color selector, and idea book, that's just 3 pieces of that marketing kit. We're already at $50, right? The marketing kit's $49 and includes a coupon for $15. So now you are getting one crazy deal, right? If against buying everything separate. Then you also get point of sale tools too. So not just the idea book as that point of sale tool that you could use to sell designs, but you also get posters, you get a sticker, and you get a full-size sample t-shirt that you could start printing right away if you want to put all of the transfer types all on one, so you have like one sample shirt to show somebody instead of that little like cool binder of t-shirts that I showed you. all of that stuff. So all of that stuff is in there in that marketing kit. If you are looking to get your business jump started and make 2023 the year that you like really hammer down and sell customers, the marketing kit could do it. I've heard from so many people, so many decorators, and so many Transfer Express customers that are like, this thing. And I mean, Trevor's in here. I could say no more. And Trevor could tell you how much that marketing kit has helped him sell more custom apparel. As a custom apparel decorators, it's great. And even if you're running your own brand, having the Color Selector swatch book, easy to look at. Have the idea book to be able to thumb through and get ideas. There's tons of trending styles. And even if you're designing in Illustrator and doing like really crazy custom stuff, it's great to stay up to date to just check out the trending designs. Our staff of designers is here literally to just make sure that they equip you with all of the artwork that you need, right? So they are at Old Navy and Target, and they're looking at online stores and looking at Etsy all the time to see what's trending in t-shirt artwork so that we could do similar stuff and keep you up to date and relevant with your customers. How cool is that? Artwork catalog, all yours as part of the marketing kit, or if you pick up that idea book too. So all there in the online designer too, for free, anytime, right? Kathy says, yeah, EasyView Online Designer works best when you have Chrome. I will say that I have the best luck with Chrome as well, Kathy. Thank you. And that mainly use Firefox, but it freezes up a lot. It does freeze up a little bit there. With Firefox, not too much, not too many bugs, and we're constantly working on it to get it to work better. Chrome is definitely the best, and it actually works really good on Microsoft Edge too. If anybody's using Edge. Probably nobody in here. We could put up a poll. That would just be bad for Microsoft. Just like Microsoft, don't come after me like Disney. Although I don't have Microsoft Plus that my daughter watches Coco on all the time. So, all right. So the marketing kit, a great offer. If Mike, I might just threw the link for the mini tees in there from the Stalls website. Yeah, those are awesome. They're like $1 or something a piece, right? That's it. So just make sure, let's see if Mike could throw that link up there for the marketing kit. If you want to pick one up for your business, unfortunately, I try to get these on sale and give offers in these webinars, but they've shut me down. I was giving away too many sales. So this one, just $49. And I got to tell you, it is completely worth it at $49. It is an absolute steal. I would pay $100 for this kit because say it converts one customer for 12 shirts in that scenario that we did. That's $80 right there. Now you already made $30 and this kit helped you convert that. And if it was so easy to convert that one customer, you're going to sell more throughout the year and on and on and on. That is absolutely super important to keep in mind as you're trying to pitch customers here. So back to easier here, right? But I say mock-ups sell all the time. So just like that idea that we put together, Menor Softball, we did that design in the EasyView Online Designer real quick. But somebody just seeing artwork, they're like, yeah, that's cool, man. Awesome. Let me bring it back to the team and we'll take a look and we'll just shoot us over an invoice and we'll get it paid. Okay. And that could turn into a sale. And sometimes, I think more often than some of us like to admit, they ghost us, right? And that's like, it didn't sell them. You mock up that shirt on the style that they want, which you could do in the EasyView Online Designer too. So now we just did the artwork real quick. And I mean, let's try it, right? I'm gonna test my internet connection to see if we could get back over there. I still have it up on my other screen. So let's pull this up, right? Just to show you how easy it is. If you don't know how to mock this stuff up in EasyView Online Designer, I clicked up on the mockup tab over here, and you could even do this in the customer mode too, right? So we're still sitting in customer mode. All of the Transfer Express branding is all hidden and everything, right? So I could just say use apparel. They want to print these on Next Level 3600s. So let's just pull up that 3600. There's a Next Level 3600. And I got to say, I am streaming too. So it's a little bit harder to make sure this is nice and quick. But we can see there's my big bright red. I'll pick red. I'll go back here. I'll turn the watermark off. Or if I want to make it say Dave's Tees, so they don't steal it, I could do that too. So here, boom, I could grab this, resize this. Just because these models change sizing, it's almost impossible to get the sizing perfect every single time. But so just size this up. I always go off the collar. Collar's about 7 to 8 inches on a medium or large model. This guy looks like he's wearing a medium shirt. So I'll say that this is 11 inches, probably about yay big. Just if this is 8 inches, ballparking it, yeah, it sticks out a little bit. So boom, We're going to do that right there. We'll kind of cock this sideways and boom, right there. Now we have solidified it. They see it on a t-shirt and they're like, you know what? Boom. That is it. That's it. That's the t-shirt. Take my money. How fast could we get these? Mock-ups help you sell. So that is one thing always to keep in mind there, that mock-ups are going to help you sell rather than just a design on a computer screen, right? So back to the slides here. That's really going to help you do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I see the chat now. Trevor says downloaded it in there. And so Janie says, if I could do these online this easy, I need to consider about doing more. Yes, absolutely. You could do more, and it's so easy to do in Online Designer. Or even if they're like, well, what does it look like on the Next Level 3600? Or like, how is that like Gildan 5000 fit? And you're going to be able to see that it's a little bit bulky. And they're like, yeah, and you know what? Let's go with that fitted. Let's go with the fitted of the Next Level 3600 on those model. Like the model shots give you that. And one other thing I didn't even show in the Online Designer is that you can do the flat lays too. Here, one more time. Let me pop on over to the Online Designer. Whoop. And so here we go, right? Here's this, but if we wanted to show it on just a flat t-shirt, I could click front right at the top of the Online Designer, and now I have a flat t-shirt. Again, 7 inches or so on here. Bam. We'll set this one up. Let me make it not as crooked, and there you go. There's a flat lay. This, and then if we go back here, we get download right here where Trevor was calling it out. Download it right there, and you're able to pull that down, and now you put it. That's the product shot that you're putting on your product listing. You don't even have to produce anything to be able to sell it. Just really super powerful stuff there. I know we're approaching 2 hours, guys. I'm going to wrap this one up for you, okay? I told you there's a lot to cover today, and I hope that you've got some great inspiration, and we just have a few more tips here to get through, and then I'll let you go back to apparel decorating or printing those vests. All right, Trevor? Hopefully you're all done with them. Patricia says, I missed this, but we are able to email the customer from the Online Designer. So we did remove that functionality for security purposes. We never heard of people doing it, but there was a way that you could put in your email address as like a reply to. But we were kind of looking at it the one day and we're like, that's not really all that safe. Someone could take advantage of that and start sending emails as somebody else. So we removed that functionality. All you have to do now is just download it. So you have the ability to download the mockup. You download the mockup and then email it to your customer yourself, coming from your own email address instead of a proxy, kind of how we were doing it. So it's a lot safer for you and us and all parties involved to just download it and not actually send an email automated right from there. Yes, one thing definitely to keep in mind. So we talked about the marketing kit. We talked about mockups, and here are just some bonus tips before we round out the webinar here. Tell people what you do. So if you have a window decal in your car, anywhere that you're around, get a decal for the back bumper and say like, I print custom shirts. You see it more often than not. Even people like just with like Instagram followings have their hashtag like on their back window or something that you could like, and like tastefully just down in the bottom corner or something, you know, it's not like huge, big across the back, but if you want to do huge, big across the back and be like custom printed t-shirts in Cleveland, get a quote right now, free design included for anybody. Like, boom, you drive around with that, your car's a billboard all the time, you know? So also tip number 2, and I struggle with this because I'm not a salesperson, right? I am all for helping people's businesses. I'm a designer. I'm a creative. I'm an educator. I love lifting people up and helping them out in any way that I can, supporting people. I'm not a salesperson, right? So I'm really bad at this, but asking for the sale. And as other passionate creatives and designers and owning your own t-shirt businesses, you might be asking for the sale too, but you're going to be shocked how many times that people aren't just saying like, hey, are we ready to write this up? Could I send you an invoice? Are you ready to purchase this today? Or if they're buying a shirt, hey, have you thought about a tote bag that's going to go? You guys are going on vacation. Do you want matching tote bags? I could throw it in for this little added price. Or hey, customization. I see that you're ordering these. That's my brother out there. Softball. Do you want to put your last name on the back with the number that matches the uniform of your brother on the field? Yeah, awesome. We could do that. Ask. Always suggest those things. Worst case scenario, what do they say? No. They're going to say no anyway. It's worth an ask because that's extra profit then in your pocket, and it shows you care. Like in that example that we showed in the EasyView Online Designer of that shirt, it shows that you care. Hey, I know that you're getting this for the family. Like, hey, like let's take this an extra step, and that's stuff that people won't think about. So it's always worth to be able to mention that, right? Adding dates when you're doing events or festivals. suggest adding a date into the design, especially if you're doing the design yourself, because be like, oh, people want to keep a memento of the event. They want it, but really that's a ploy for you to put a date on it so they can't use the same shirts next year, right? They bought too many and it's like, okay, like, all right, we're going to eat the cost of those 6 extras, but at least they can't use the 6 extras and then that's 6 less that they're going to buy from you next year, right? So putting a date on it for events, anything like that. Trevor could probably say more about dates because he does a lot of events that he's printing for, right? So being able to put dates on them, not only is it like that souvenir, that memento, like, oh yeah, I made it, 2023, this is it. This is the new year. Or, you wear it in years past, like I'm going to the event the next year and it's like, the event's 2 days long. I'm not going to wear the same hoodie 2 days. So let me wear the 2022 version to the 2023 event. And then I'll wear the 2023 hoodie that I got at this event, whatever it may be. Putting dates on stuff is great. I say this all the time too. So step number 4 here, inside tag prints on everything you can. So everybody in the world has a need for a custom t-shirt. Maybe not the world, in the United States. Everybody has a need for a custom t-shirt about every 3 years, whether it be the business they're working for, the family picnic, the reunion, the trip down to Disney or whatever it may be, or like, hey, I'm going to a concert. I need just a shirt that says like something funny or something, right? You have a need for a custom t-shirt every 3 years about, right? Every person, regardless of what line of work they're in. Maybe they're like a Twitch streamer and they just want a shirt to wear on their gaming streams, right? They have a need for a custom t-shirt. They don't know who to go to, but when they got that shirt at that art festival or that 5K or whatever years ago, and it's their favorite shirt, they see that inside tag every single time that they're wearing that shirt, right? They put it on. They're going to remember your brand. You're going to stay top of mind. And then they're going to go, let me go to Dave's Tees to pick up my shirt when I need it next, right? So again, with that, I'm going to skip number 5 and go over to number 6 and be your own walking billboard. Wear your own gear all the time. When I go out to events and like trade shows, people are wearing their own branded stuff all the time, whether it be their brand or their own custom printing shop. They want to rep their brand, rep your brand on your car, just like I said, like tell people what you do, but wear it on your person. It's a great conversation starter. And you never know when you're like just out at dinner and you're on the way out and somebody's like, hey man, are you local? I've heard about your business. Like I need some custom t-shirts. Exchange some business cards, information, follow up, boom, right there. Sell color. So just like I showed you on the mock-ups with a red shirt, what if you're like, well, gray is another color. Do you want to buy it in gray? Being able to show that shows that you care to your customer and shows that you're putting the passion in for them. Giving them the options. What are they going to say? No. If they're like, you know what? Yeah, we see a lot of away games too, and they're in gray. Could we get the gray ones? Yeah, and they'll get them too. So always so much stuff here. So taking the show on the road. If you want to get into event printing, I've been super ingrained in this, so we had to include it in the webinar. But I'm doing a class at the Impressions Expo in Atlantic City about the actual like printing on the road. Heat pressing at events, a great way to lower inventory and get your name out there, expose yourself to a brand new audience, or ingrain yourself in your target audience. Say, Trevor, I'm going to use you one more time since we're wrapping it up. There is a disc golf printing event coming out, right? And Trevor was saying like everybody who registers gets a disc golf number. You get like your own you get your own golfer number, right? So people were wanting to put that on their apparel. Bringing maybe a little like Cricut, a Silhouette, a Roland, some kind of vinyl cutter, or even like just like screen printed numbers that you could put in order as transfers, right? Bringing that to an event to customize on site, man, the amount of profit that you could build into that. The little heat presses, cap presses are great for that. It's for the little sleeve decorations or inside tag printing, whatever it may be. Being able to produce it as they wait, or even getting your customers involved to be like, yeah, pull that handle down. And see, like they're interacted in it. It's now a memory that's much more than just a t-shirt. And it's an event. It's their passion. If it's their, like sometimes like guys take vacation to do stuff like that. Like people will take vacation. So it is like, it might just be like that's one disc golf tournament weekend, but like somebody took the whole week off and traveled from Colorado to come here for that, like you never know with those events, how much and how important, how much they mean to people and how important they are. So also printing your own money, always offering coupons or box stuffers for repeat purchases. That's only good with you, right? So the example we have here, every team order of 12 or more, you get a free tote bag, right? The bags cost about $1 to print. You're already buying the transfers. So there's not any additional print cost. It's just your time and $1 for the blank. Like but now you're adding value. You could say, oh, well, order 12 shirts, I'll give you 15% off your next order. Now you're bringing it back. Coupons are great for on-site events too, because then that might be their first interaction with you. Now you turn it around. So box stuffers, hang tags, putting hang tags on your clothes. Number one, makes it look really professional, right? Elevates your brand to a little bit higher standard. And then on the back of the hang tag, you could say like, hey, take 10% off your next online order, use promo code, blah, 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 blah. And now they're like, well, I really like this shirt. I'm going to buy another one. I'm going to go back to this guy. You know, if you're running your own brand, whatever it may be. So we had a lot of fun here today, guys. I thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to do something even more fun. If you're unfamiliar with our Toast to Transfers, we have a Toast to Transfers coming up for vacation. Now, this is a great opportunity to get a kit that's not the marketing kit. Now, the marketing kit is a great thing to market your businesses anytime, but this is a great way to show off your different capabilities. With the Toast to Transfer series, I think this is like the 12th or 13th one that we've done over the past 2 years. And with this one specifically, and all of them really, we show off different printing techniques, try to build confidence in a live printing event. So it's like a wine and design or like a wine and paint night, but you fire up your heat press and we are live, very similar to this webinar format, except there are no slides. It is just us in the studio. It's usually Steph, but I was able to do one a couple weeks ago. I had so much fun with it, but this is specifically tailored to show off your capabilities. Number one, this really super cute tote bag, right? It's a hoodie tote. So it's like a hoodie pocket, but on a cinch sack tote bag. And so we're going to decorate on that. So you have a nice display to show. And of course you could pick the artwork that we choose, or we give you some extra artwork on the gang sheet that you could mess around with. But this one, the best day ever, obviously a Disney inspired design, right? And so something that you could show for those vacation and summer breaks, spring break stuff that's coming up, right? It's better on vacation. So just a kind of nice tee. Now that is on a district blank. Absolutely love it. I think it's the DT104, but I might be wrong. We just released a video on our YouTube today breaking down the differences in some district blank tees. But on top of this, we're printing a luggage tag. So probably something you never printed with your heat press before, as well as a passport holder. So we're going to be using a few different products, Goof Proof and Ultra Color Max. We're printing on that t-shirt, the tote bag, the passport pouch, and the luggage tag. So showing off all this wide range of capabilities. Best part of all, it's a lot of fun to happen on a just Thursday evening. So it's Thursday, March 30th is when the event is. And Mike probably put the link already there in the chat section, I think. Yep. Oh, right there. But it's $35 in free shipping. So like if you just bought the supplies yourself, it's the same price. But we give you a whole bunch of added stuff. You get to hang out with us. We talk about, I think you even get like with this one, you can see it right at the bottom of the t-shirt. We'll give you a little drink umbrella too, so that we can all toast and have a good time while we're decorating some cool stuff that then you could use for your business. But if you're just getting started, this is great because it is a guided like pressing event. So it's just like what we did here today, but we're live and we'll slow down. Steph doesn't talk nearly as fast as I do, but she's not talking about a whole bunch of marketing stuff. It's just we get together and have a fun time. So with all of this here, it's $35 free shipping. Mike just dropped the chat in there. Mike, thank you so much for hanging out. I see Mike says that he's got to go. Dinner on me. We're getting barbecue. Trevor, we're going down and we're getting barbecue with Mike, okay? We're going to do it one of these weekends. Maybe Graphics Pro Charlotte. Maybe. Or maybe there'll be I'm getting back down to the Carolinas sometime soon, but we will make that happen. But guys, yeah, if you're interested, pick up that Toast to Transfers kit. A great companion too, every single time we do it, because they're new, trending, seasonal, relevant styles, and some cool stuff that we're doing that's going to expand your capabilities as an apparel decorator with a heat press. So that is it. I don't really have too much time for questions and answers here, as we went far over the time frame of what I thought we were going to be able to get this in here. But yes, Kelly, you can watch the Toast to Transfers if you don't want to purchase the kit. We do have them available in all sizes, so you could buy them for a friend, a family member, if you want to give them as a gift. They're a great little custom printing kit, essentially, that you're putting together. But you can, the registration, just keep an eye out for the registration link after the kit sales close, because I believe right now the only way to register for it is buying a kit. But as soon as we sell out of the kits, is going to happen because we sell out of it every single time. This will be the 4th or 5th one in a row now that we've sold out. And we actually expanded to buy more kits because we were selling out so much. But they are still on track to sell out. They just went on sale 2 days ago, and they're very, very close. So there's a ton of stuff that we do with the Toast to Transfers. But yes, keep an eye out for the link because there will be a registration link after kits sell out. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. And I see so many thanks. And guys, I will take the thanks, but the power now is on you. The ball is in your court. Take what we talked about today, take it and apply it for your business. And I guarantee, you can take the Dave guarantee on this one. I guarantee that you are going to start seeing some positive results in your business. If you just take one thing, one little snippet, maybe you took one little note of something that's like, you know what, I can make those social posts. Or like, you know what, let me go try to find my audience. Or, you know, we saw the wheels turning with you guys here in the chat section today. I know that you have the ideas churning in your head, and I want to thank you for joining us here today. If you need to contact me at any time, go comment on one of the Transfer Express YouTube videos. I personally answer every single one of those every single day, and sometimes during the night too, when I'm not scrolling on TikTok. Right? But I am here to help your business succeed. I want 2023 to be the absolute best year yet for you. Whether you pick up the marketing kit or not, whether you use the designer or not, I want to see your business succeed. I know these tools. I've seen these tools work for other decorators, and I know that they could work for you as well. But we'll be back with, I don't think a webinar's in 2 weeks, because we're going to be at the Impressions Expo in Atlantic City, and then we'll have the Toast to Transfer. So it might be a month or so until I see you guys again here, unless I'll see you at the show, or maybe at Toast to Transfers. We'll see you there as well. But I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really, really appreciate. I thank you and applaud you. A virtual high five for you guys with your dedication to learning, hanging out with me for 2 hours on a Wednesday, Thursday afternoon. What day is it? But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see you soon. And until next time, happy pressing. Bye, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. And yeah, happy pressing. Go out there and absolutely crush it. I know you got it. All right. We'll see you next time.